The opinions expressed on this program are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect those of Cable 14, its sponsors, or its shareholders, Cogeco Cable, Shaw Cable, and Source Cable Limited.
Welcome everyone to Culture by the Minute here on Cable 14. My name's Jeremy Freiburger and I'm from CoBALT Connects. I will be your host for possibly the season, maybe portions of it, throwing to some other people. And we're excited this year with Culture by the Minute because we've expanded our program once again. We've gone over the last couple of years from a 4-minute segment of a show to a half of a show to now we're a full 30 minutes every other week coming to you here on Cable 14 to talk to you about culture, what's going on in our creative community here in Hamilton. And so that means this year we're going to get to talk to a whole lot more creative people. We're doing a lot of artist profiles, going into their studios, seeing what they do in their spaces and in their businesses. And when we have time, now that we've got 30 minutes, maybe throwing some people in the hot seat a little bit, now that we've got time to chat with them about some of the more controversial issues going on in our creative community. So we're really excited to have you here as our audience in this expanded format. Over the next couple of weeks, you should keep your eye on the CoBALT Connects website and on our Facebook page. We've recently hired our new communications lead, Jenny Gladish, and she's going to be launching some new projects that are going to help us generate some new content for both our website and also to pull here into Cable 14 some video stuff, maybe some photo essays, things of that sort. So keep an eye on us as we want to sort of start partnering with you and connecting you to the media sources that we're helping create. Today's show is focused on festivals. We're coming to the end of our summer season, heading into Hamilton's busy fall season of festivals, and there's all sorts of stuff to look forward to and all sorts of stuff that's just happened. Some of those people we have in the studio with us today. A little technical tidbit, as we do cultural planning as an organization, we learn about all sorts of funny different things. And every business, whether it's a festival, whether maybe it's a local restaurant or a clothier you love, they all have something called a NAICS code, which is a North American Industry Classification Code that tells you what kind of business they are so that the government and whatnot can keep track of how our businesses are growing in our communities. And festivals happen to be part of code 711322. Specifically, the folks we're talking to today are festivals without facilities. So this is episode 711322, festivals without facilities in Hamilton. Some of us, and maybe even some of our guests today, are still a little hungover from participating in Supercrawl over the weekend. And we have Tim Podesic here from Sonic Onion Records and from Supercrawl. Tim, thrilled to have you here today. Thanks for coming out.
Thanks, Jeremy.
Are you feeling it still, or are you
I'm feeling great, but we're in the wrap-up portion of Supercrawl, so it's still pretty intense. My phone is ringing as much as it was on Friday night and Saturday, so
no doubt.
Hopefully that's going to alleviate in the next couple days.
Peter out at some point. You can have your life back. And we also have Mark Gallen here, who's from the Pure Creation Institute, which is the team, maybe one-man team, we'll find out later, that's run one of the newest festivals here in Hamilton, the Midsummer Night's Dream festival that happened in Gage Park over the summer. Pleased to have you here, Mark.
Thank you for having me. It's wonderful to be here.
Many moons ago, some people might know that I used to run a festival in Oakville called the RBC Festival of Classics. It was about a month-long outdoor theater festival in the park, so I know a little bit of the madness that these gentlemen have gone through over the course of their summer in organizing a festival. So I want to take a little bit of time to get to know them as people before we get to know them as their festival. So a lot of people in Hamilton go to festivals. A recent Hill Strategies research study, which is a local research firm that does nationwide, international even, cultural research, found out that 44% of Hamiltons go to festivals. So that's a few 100,000 people from our community alone that are going out to all these festivals. But you two guys and our third guest, Patty, are three of the oddballs in this community who wake up and decide you want to run a festival. So to each of you, maybe starting with Tim, what makes you want to run a festival? What makes you wake up in the morning and say, I want to put myself through that?
Well, I love Hamilton and I love events, and I've always participated and gone to music festivals throughout my entire life. And I felt like downtown Hamilton specifically needed something new and vibrant and big. And we've very quickly gotten to that point, and I'm very thrilled with the results of where we've gone. But yeah, that's really sort of the crux of it. I love attending them, so I thought, why not dig into trying to run one.
And how does Super Crawl tie back to what Tim and Sonic Onion does with the rest of your year? So sort of connect Super Crawl to where Sonic Onion's at.
Well, you know, we are a music company, so that's the basis of basis of Super Crawl was basically wanting to try to bring some more music to James Street, the James Street North Art Crawl. I mean, that was one of the main reasons that we started it in the first place, to try to drive bodies and people down to see the great things that were going on James. So it really ties in nicely, like Sonic Onion and the festival go hand in hand. And not only am I running Super Crawl, but I intend to do some other things as well in the very near future in Hamilton. So be prepared for some more collaboration between the Sonic Onion music side and festival events in Hamilton.
Sounds good. There's a little sneak peek of maybe what's to come, folks. Tim dropping a little bomb on us there. And over to you, Mark. What's brought you into the world of creating a festival in this community?
Well, I always used to throw great parties in high school, and and then I organized a festival when I was in college, and then I was working at a marketing agency, and I finished working there, and it was kind of just like, I'm going to throw an epic festival, and away I went. So that was really the reason. And because Festival of Friends isn't in Gage Park anymore, I saw it as an opportunity to do something awesome, you know. So I kind of went on Joseph Campbell's thing, whereas if you follow your bliss, doors will open up for you where once only walls. And here I am today, sitting in front of a TV camera with the guy who did Super Crawl right next to me.
Legends in the room. So both of you definitely, obviously self-starters, people that sort of grab an idea and run with it, make things happen. Sometimes when you do that, you don't really know what kind of job description you're signing up for. It's not like walking into Harvey's and saying, I want to be the head line cook. So talk to us a little bit, each of you, about what does it mean to be a festival director? What is on your daily to-do list? What is on sort of that bigger scope of being a director of something of that scale?
Mark? You want to take that, or you want me to take that?
You know, you really, I think at the end of it, you really just got to love it, because if you don't love it, I mean, it's work. I mean, I would wake up probably 7 a.m. and go to bed at midnight, and I'd be working all day, you know. Doing so many different things. It's like juggling so many different balls, but as long as you love it, you got a smile on your face and a song in your heart, and that's just the way to do it. I mean, there's so many things that can go wrong, and then you gotta think of another way to do it, and then you gotta think of different ways to market it, and who's the best entertainment and who's the best media channels to go through, and ordering stuff in from the States and stuff. So it's a big process, so you really gotta love what you do, and it's a big job. Like I thought, oh yeah, and I can run a festival, no problem. And then deep in the thick of it, it's like, oh my God, running a festival. So it was a lot of fun. It was the best job I've ever had. So
when you were live on the air during Super Crawl, Tim, when Gunnar and Jamie were interviewing you, I think they asked a really important question, sort of Sonic Onion and then Super Crawl is an extension of it to a certain extent, have been around for the better part of 20 years now.
Yep.
Through a very tumultuous music scene, industry in Canada and abroad and whatnot. And so what has Sonic Onion done right to keep evolving and to add something like Super Crawl to part of your repertoire?
Well, I mean, that's sort of you hit the nail on the head by saying it. I mean, we've always evolved and changed with the times, and we're lucky enough to be a small enough, nimble enough company that we've always been able to adapt and change. So we have gone through immense changes in the last really 5 or 6 years. We sold off part of our distribution company, and when we did that, we were looking to expand into something else, and events were something that we've always done since inception. And we actually also ran another festival a long time ago, and it was called Woolsock. Not a very well-known festival, but a festival nonetheless. North of Burlington 1 year, which was a big success, and then the second year in Niagara Falls, which was a miserable failure. But
now look where we are, man. You just threw the Epic Street Festival in Hamilton.
Yeah, I know. Well, I love Hamilton. Hamilton opened their arms, so it was quite good. But yeah, I mean, in general, Sonic Onion has always evolved, and we've seen the live side. We love the live side. We want to get more involved in the live side, so that's just one element of what we want to do. And you know, the other element of things is I'm desperately wanting to open up a venue at some point so that we can bring more live music into Hamilton, more theater, more dance, more of everything, and be involved in it on a daily basis. It's somewhere where I think I would really love to head and have our company head in that direction.
Excellent, excellent. Perfect timing. What I'd love to do right now, actually, is throw to a clip of Mark's festival, the Midsummer Night's Dream Festival, to give you a sense of what some of the newer festivals are creating in this community. I really love the concept of where Mark's going with it, and I think this video shows a really good sense of where he's coming from and what the festival became this year. So let's throw to that now.
We all want to help one another. Human beings are like that. We want to live by each other's happiness, not by each other's misery. We don't want to hate and despise one another. In this world, there's room for everyone, and the good earth is rich. It can provide for everyone. The way of life can be free and beautiful. But we have lost the way. Greed has poisoned men's souls, has barricaded the world with hate, has goose-stepped us into misery and bloodshed. We have developed speed. We have shut ourselves in. Machinery that gives abundance has left us in want. Our knowledge has made us cynical, our cleverness hard and unkind. We think too much, feel too little. More than machinery, we need humanity. More than cleverness, we need kindness, gentleness. Without these qualities, life will be violent, and all will be lost. The aeroplane and the radio have brought us closer together. The very nature of these inventions cries out for the goodness in men, cries out for universal brotherhood, for the unity of us all. Even now, my voice is reaching millions throughout the world. Millions of despairing men, women, and little children, victims of a system that makes men torture and imprison innocent people. To those who can hear me, I say, do not despair. The misery that is now upon us is but the passing of greed, the bitterness of men who fear the way of human progress. The hate of men will pass, and dictators die. And the power they took from the people will return to the people. And so long as men die, liberty will never perish. Soldiers, don't give yourselves to brutes. Men who despise you, enslave you, who regiment your lives, tell you what to do, what to think, and what to feel, who drill you, diet you, treat you like cattle, use you as cannon fodder. Don't give yourselves to these unnatural men, machine men with machine minds and machine hearts. You are not machines. You are not cattle. You are men. You have the love of humanity in your hearts. You don't hate. Only the unloved hate. The unloved and the unnatural. Soldiers, don't fight for slavery. Fight for liberty. In the 17th chapter of St. Luke it is written, the kingdom of God is within man. Not one man nor a group of men, but in all men, in you. You, the people, have the power. The power to create machines. The power to create happiness. You, the people, have the power to make this life free and beautiful. To make this life a wonderful adventure. Then in the name of democracy, let us use that power. Let us all unite.
Fantastic piece, sir. I really love that, Mark, and I'm really glad you were able to bring that in for us to share with people. I think it gives a really nice little snapshot of the mission that is driving your event and why it's happening and who's coming together to be a part of that. So I really love that. But then to sort of flip this on its head, festivals in Ontario, according to Stats Canada, generate somewhere in the neighborhood of $100 million towards our provincial GDP. We employ about 2,600 people in festivals, and that doesn't count the ancillary jobs that spin out off of that into restaurants and all sorts of other great things. Festivals are a unique beast in that you have to work with the city to accomplish your goal. It's not like putting a show up in a gallery where you can control your space. So to both of you, how is the city a partner and a player in helping you execute your vision? Let's start with Tim on that one.
I think that the city's been fantastic, you know, and really in the last couple of years embraced what we were doing. The first year was really an experiment for Supercrawl 4 years ago, putting the festival on and making it happen, and there was definitely support in the right places. and people wanted to see it happen, but there was a lot of questions of, you know, its relevance and where it could go. And as it's grown over the last 4 years, I could say that the city is fully on board. Obviously, there's still obstacles that we need to get around. There are always obstacles with running festivals and dealing with the politics of running festivals and the staff at the city. But in general, I'm really pleased with our ability to talk and solve problems. And I mean, I find as long as you're open with them on the staff side, it's smooth sailing. Like, you know, for example, I had a last minute, you know, major change that I had to undertake a couple weeks before the festival happened, and everybody on the committees at the city rallied around trying to make it happen for me, and it was a very smooth process. So, you know, we've come a long way, and it's really great. That's
excellent. And Mark, as very quickly, as one of the newest festivals in town, what's the one thing the city could do to help you move your festival along?
Give me money.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, I second that.
Other than that, I mean, like, they were very approachable. Maria Pearson, which is councillor at my ward, I went to her to go talk to her about the festival, and she was really supportive. She's like, yeah, get on it right now. So I did the application. I talked with all the the people at SEAT, the special events team, and everyone was really supportive. I really don't have a negative thing to say. If I needed to talk to them, they were there. If I needed to have a site meeting, they were there. You know, it went pretty well. I mean, I really can't say anything bad. I only have positive things about working with the city.
That's great. So that's a good way to end it, guys. Thank you so much once again, Tim Podesic from Sonic County Records and Supercrawl, Mark Gowland from the Midsummer Night's Dream Festival. Thank you so much, guys, for coming in and spending some time with us today.
Thanks, Jeremy.
Thanks, Jeremy.
And we're going to throw to a quick break before we come back and talk to Patty Hayes from the Ottawa Street BIA. Welcome back, everyone. This is Culture by the Minute on Cable 14 with CoBALT Connects. I got to get my own company name down there, CoBALT Connects. Thanks for joining us. Today we're talking festivals, and our guest for the last chunk of our show this evening is Patty from the Ottawa Street BIA. So thank you for joining me, Patty.
No, thank you for having me, Jeremy.
Ottawa Street BIA, fabulous organization, keeping Ottawa Street buzzing with merchants, a lot of new cultural stuff joining the street. And you've got a festival coming up, so tell us a little bit about So Hungry.
We do. So Hungry, S-E-W, sort of a pun on, obviously, the sewing history for Ottawa Street. We're looking forward to having 22 food trucks and 6 restaurants outside on Friday. And really excited to be looking forward to the end of the week. Hope that the weather participates. That's always the organizer's dream, is that the sun shines. And we're hoping that Hamilton joins us in celebrating the food culture.
Absolutely. I think the idea of focusing So Hungry on food culture, I think Hamilton's been dying for another food-related festival. We've got the food and drink show, but I think taking it out to the streets is really exciting. If anyone watches any sort of cable television right now, you would know that food trucks, the latest craze, and shows that are revolving around chefs and restaurants and whatnot all over the place. So when did Ottawa Street pick up on that, and what sort of pushed you into creating So Hungry, a food truck-focused event?
Well, about a year and a half ago, I guess, was when the idea was born, and we were looking for something a little bit different. On Ottawa Street, we talk a lot, obviously, about fabrics and textiles. We talk a lot about art and our new public art installation and the galleries that have come. We talk a lot about antiques, and we've had sort of explored great popularity there. This time we wanted to talk about food. So we were really looking for a new way that we could celebrate food and actually showcase our great restaurants. As we know, we're a little east of the downtown core, so we wanted to make sure that people knew that we have great food on the street, and draw people to an area where maybe they weren't used to going for lunch. And so this became the idea that we see today.
I think it's a fantastic idea, and I went out last time, and it was packed to the gills with people. So if you're going to So Hungry this year, folks, don't wait till the last minute to go. Go early, get in line, make your choice, find out what you want to sample from one of the great trucks. And the So Hungry movement, I think, landed right on the heels of council having to make some tough choices about how we were going to deal with food trucks. So sometimes being entrepreneurial and a little bit ahead of the curve lands you in some hot water. So obviously you're intimate with what the new rules are. Patty, where do we land on that? What are the ins and outs of being a food truck in Hamilton these days?
It's an interesting question, and I think a great conversation for every municipality to have with their businesses in their city. So I think you have to be not afraid of having the conversation. We have to realize that the business model is changing, and the way we did business a few years ago isn't always the way we did business or way we're going to do it in the future. In my presentation to council, I said to them, you know, boy, was I glad that I wasn't the guy who suggested that a mall should do something called a food court. I'm sure at the time they said, what? You want to do what? You want to put us all together? Are you kidding? So we have to understand the evolution of business, and this is just a new business model, and we wanted to find a way to bring that new business model into the forefront and be able to show the restaurant community that it can work, and that it can work together, and that it can prove to be successful for both parties.
That's fantastic, and I think that's a unique spot for the BIA to be in, to be dealing with both the issues of a BIA and the issues of a new business model. So how does something like So Hungry tie back to the merchants that are there Monday to Friday, 7 days a week on Ottawa Street, and how does So Hungry sort of help boost them up in the community?
Well, I think it speaks to why we're in business in the first place. This is a democracy. We want people to challenge our restaurants to do more, do better. We want our own businesses to always be thinking outside the box. And as Tim alluded earlier, you know, you've got to keep evolving and changing. So you can make it work. The way that we have sort of brought So Hungry onto the streets of Ottawa Street is we've really engaged our restaurants, so they'll be coming outside, and we've challenged them to do their own version of street food so that they can participate in the same way that the trucks are participating. This year we've also brought in our farmers market. It was another food element, and this year all of our restaurants and all of the 22 trucks expected on Friday will be having a market fresh special. So they're all required to be sourcing something from our own farmers market, and it will be served as part of the food on Friday when people go to enjoy the different offerings that they have.
That's awesome. I love the connection back to the market and the whole idea of a modern day festival connecting to our rural roots, connecting to local business. I think you've got an interesting little combination of things coming together there. So who's going to blow us out of the water on Friday? I've been last year. You've got some new people there this year. Who must I wait in line for this year?
Well, interestingly enough, almost half of our 22 trucks are Hamilton or Hamilton local area. So that gives you an idea of how much interest there is in this community for this local movement. But we also have the other half or so of our trucks are from outside, most of them from Toronto. They've struggled with the bylaws in Toronto, and so they're really happy that they can do a curbside service, which is true to what they are. They do a lot of festivals and events that are on private property. They really want to be serving people at the curb. So we're really excited. It's going to be very difficult to tell. There's a brand new truck in Hamilton called the Frittersons, and she does amazing food. You know, pulled pork and sort of that sort of southern barbecue is also really popular.
And a meatball truck, I've been told.
Yeah, there's a meatball truck coming.
So that's where I'll be if you're looking for me on Friday, ladies and gentlemen, in line for a
yes,
meatball
out of Toronto, there's a truck that's called the Blue Donkey. They do Greek food, gourmet gringos.
They were great last year.
Yeah, they do Latin food, tacos, and things like that. You know, it's so exciting to see that Hamilton is embracing that whole experience from start to finish. So this is both a time to wear stretchy pants. It's a great excuse to do that. And I suggest to people that not only do they buy food for lunch, but then they could buy something for dinner as well. So you don't have to maybe limit yourself. So try different things and support our local restaurants. They benefit too. They do very well. All of them who participated curbside last spring sold out of food.
Fantastic.
So we were really excited.
So there you go, folks. Thanks once again, Patty, for coming in. So Hungry this Friday, folks. Don't miss it. And that's basically our show for this week. So as a closer, don't forget, folks, arts, culture, creativity, as much as they're a part of our community, they're a huge growing part of our community. They are businesses. They are people that are being employed, creating employment, all sorts of great stuff. spinning out of what is naturally our culture. So I encourage you, get involved, become a sponsor, a donor, a volunteer, become an artist yourself if you're so inclined and so trained, and dive in and really find your spot in our local community, in our local culture. There's plenty of great stuff. We're going to throw up some events for you to take a look at that are coming up over the next couple of weeks. We'll be back here on October 1st with our next episode. And the events that are coming up that we really wanted to highlight: the AGH Film Festival, September 21st through the 30th. You can grab information there at the aghfilmfest.com. A number of locations throughout the city. Shamelessly self-promoting myself, I'm participating in an event called The Quarterly that's at the Pearl Company on September 22nd, run by a really great Torontonian that is now a Hamiltonian, Lisa Pujwan-Yamura. You can find her stuff at girlcancreate.blogspot.com. It'll be my first time performing live in about a decade. And First Dance by Trevor Kopp, who's part of the artistic director for Tottering Biped Theatre in Burlington, putting on his production of First Dance at the Student Theatre in Burlington, September 21st to 22nd. I think one of the most talented people in our region. Keep an eye out for him. And that's our show for this week. Thanks so much for joining me, and we'll catch you next week on Culture by the Minute on Cable 14.